You lose! Hey everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
Today we're going to be talking about loot box gambling, because we haven't done that enough.
Again, another one.
But we have more information, and we have kind of how other countries are taking the whole loot box thing.
A French senator named Jerome Durain wrote... Durain, I did it right!
Yeah.
Stop
Right
second
twice
guessing.
and you're stopping.
A French senator named Jerome Durain wrote a letter to France's online gambling regulatory body, which is Aerogel, this word. So the letter's obviously in French, and we don't speak French, but a kind Redditor translated it for everyone to read in the US, and it actually contains some really great points, and we just wanted to go over what he was saying and hope that the US does the same thing. In the first part of the letter, the senator is discussing gaming and the esports industry as a whole, specifically that it's making a positive impact on the French community, kind of in contrast with the way people were treating video games in the past. Like Grand Theft Auto is going to lead to increased car thefts, and like people are going to shoot each other because kids are so impressionable and will go buy a gun and blah blah blah. That's not really what gaming is. It's more of a professional sport. It's more of a way for friends to connect, and really that's what it's been the whole time in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Later on in the letter, he goes on to say that while right now he doesn't think that we need to do any sort of government regulations on making it gambling, he does think it's important that we talk about it now because they are going in that direction, which I think is a really good idea. Like, they need to do what the video game industry did with the ESRB here in the US, which is come up with a means to rate your games so that another government organization doesn't come in to tell you what you can and cannot do. You know, kind of clean your own house,
right,
you know, a little bit before you just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, some people are kind of afraid of self-regulation, and I think I would be afraid of self-regulation. It's possible to do it well, and it's better, in my opinion, than having another government body regulating something they basically don't understand. Like a bunch of people that almost certainly won't be gamers or developers or anything like that, having a say, having a say in what these games do or don't do, right?
Well, and I think that if they do self-regulation and they do it well, that's the end of it. But if they do self-regulation and they do it poorly, that's when the government gets involved.
Exactly.
And so I think it's a better option for them to just start by going, hey, maybe we should get together and say maybe loot boxes are probably like the worst idea ever, and move forward from that point. But coming up with that beforehand and discussing it as a community beforehand, before a government organization of old dudes coming in and just telling you how to do it.
Making the rules, laying down the law.
Quick QueueTimes PSA, remember, Ajit Pai's an asshole.
And EA is a bunch of greedy bastards. Thanks for watching. He also discussed the kind of current state of loot boxes and of gambling. He made specific reference to how Battlefield 2's like pay-to-win model wasn't well accepted, to which I high-five you, sir. And he also discussed kind of more accepted loot box practices, such as cosmetic ones in Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm sort of thing, which I think everyone's okay with. I've met few people who would say that an exclusively cosmetic loot box is something that we should be concerned about.
Yeah,
So,
and the fact is that those two different kinds of loot boxes are just so wildly different.
Yeah.
Overwatch, yes, you have all of the characters in the game and you have access to everything. The only thing you don't have access to is what the character physically looks like.
yeah.
Versus Star Wars Battlefront, which is, hey, you don't have access to Darth Vader unless you give us money or spend tons of time, or get super lucky in these loot boxes.
For these cards, for these upgrades for these cards. Everything that does damage to other people in the game is something that is behind either a huge time wall or a box wall. And I'm really happy that he recognizes the fact that those two things are different, and it shows to me that he's kind of in touch with the situation. He's not just jumping on this political bandwagon to gain some credit. Like, and even if he is doing that, it seems like he at least put the research in. So fine, you get the credit, enjoy.
Having this conversation right now is really important. So with digital loot boxes and digital systems, as we've seen in the past, they've talked about patenting the ability to, oh, hey, you play shotguns a lot, and now we're gonna, you know, advertise a shotgun to you.
The marquee player model.
You know, that whole entire system. That is really, really detrimental to the entire community and is really pushing people to being just overly manipulative in gaming.
And it goes even further than that. I mean, think of all the data that these games have about their players that they can exploit to sell you something. For example, if I look at an item 3 times a day, I just look at this item and its stats, and whenever I see someone playing with it, I look at it on their, when I expect their character, I look at the stats again. So the game can kind of assume that I want that item, and then it can take the loot box statistics for item drops and drop it all the way down so that I almost never get the item. I mean, without regulation, they can just drop it to 0. So that it's not going to come up unless I buy that item specifically.
Now, this is important because in actual gambling here in the US, is there has to be a specific percentage of wins.
Yes.
And that's kind of the really big differences between actual gambling and the gambling that we're doing with loot boxes, is that there isn't a percentage of gained loot or gained perceived winning.
Right.
A lot of people don't really care about sprays or voice lines in Overwatch. They care about skins. So it's like if you don't have a win percentage like gambling does, it kind of makes it even worse.
Yeah, and the fact that they can literally control that with code, just changing a percentage value from one to another at their whim, or programmatically, again, using the immense amount of data that they have about their player base, makes it unfathomably dangerous, especially for people that have a tendency to become addicted to gambling, which is a real thing.
Or children that don't understand.
Or children that don't understand what's happening. Lighter side of the story, there's a hilarious Doom mod that takes most of the weapon spawns and power-up spawns and turns them into loot boxes, and then you have to kill enemies that drop keys very rarely, and then go up to one of the loot boxes and open it, and then maybe get something useful. There's a video where a guy was playing with the mod, and the first loot box he opened after like 1,000,000 years had night vision goggles in it, and he was just like, come on man, I'm still using a pistol. I need a shotgun or literally anything else. It's a pretty good approximation of what gaming's kind of turning into at this point. Kind of funny, also kind of depressing. Check it out if you want to check it out. And if you still have original Doom installed, go ahead and give it a download.
All right, guys, go down to the comment and let us know, does Aeroglide sound like a lubricant? While you're down there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications.
I said Aerogel. Rude.
Aeroglide, Aerogel, whatever. Also, make sure to share it with as many people as you possibly can. Until next time, guys, my name's Indigo, and you can reach me on Twitter at IndigoQT.
I'm Krug. You can get me at QueueTimes on Twitter. You can also reach both of us at _QueueTimes. We've been GameGorgon. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Aerogel.